Isn't that a beauty? Well, today I'd like to recreate this guy in an open pore pud. I think it was high school. No, it wasn't high school. I think it was junior high that my friends decided that I needed a nickname. And with a last name like Felder, you can imagine 12-year-old boys and their inappropriateness quickly became Adam Felther. It went from that to Feldifier. I don't know where it came from, but Feldifier became a nickname. Equally inappropriate became, oh, Adam's going to Feldify her. But it stuck to a certain degree anyway. And even now, Feldifier has been used in my life in different ways. So when it became time to pick a name for one of my favorite, if not my favorite, bladed jig patterns, the Feldifier had to be it. And here it is once again. It is a green pumpkin blue with a nice pearl white belly and a shock of copper right in between. I have tied this up on the channel before. Those who have been around for a long time have seen it, but I've never done it in a soft plastic. Someday we're going to pull out the triple and we're going to try to accomplish that in the triple, but today we are going to accomplish it, or at least give our best effort to accomplish it, in this guy right here. I am gonna tweak it just a little bit. I want some blue in the belly, and I have a new color, watermelon blue from MF, that I think will make a nice top. So, let me get the griddle, get it fired up, and we'll get to building. We got them all lined up, looking good. I set the temperature to 275. So this has got a white bottom, but like I said, I'm looking for a little tinge of blue. I think that's going to really work well with our watermelon blue top. And there is just no better for a pearly white bottom with a little hint of blue than Bait Plastics Monkey Milk. So that's what we're going to go to. I've got a cup of Bait Plastics 242 Ultra Clear Low Odor here as usual. Looking for something maybe a little bit more translucent. So we'll start with, say, on this one, I'm going to say 10 drops and we'll gauge it. I want to go just a little bit darker than that. Let's go 5 more. Yeah, that's good. See how you can still see the knife going down through it, but it starts to disappear about a 1/4 of an inch down inside. I think that will do us just fine. And actually no flake on this guy. I do want it to be pretty darn toasty though, so that it settles out in the bellies of these things pretty nicely. Just under 370, so this will be just right. If this had flake in it, I wouldn't take it this high. I would try to handle the bellies in a different way. But with no flake, you don't have to worry about anything settling, so we can afford to pour it a little bit hotter. And for those wondering, so I've got some questions lately. The garage door is open and the fan is on. You guys can probably hear it. So we are properly ventilated. Time for the second color, and I busted out the beakers. Yep, we don't need a whole lot here, right? We're just looking for a bloodline. We're just looking for that middle core layer, and we need it to be, I know, is everybody shocked? Don't give me any grief. We're looking for copper. I also like all flake, so guess what we're gonna do? We're going to do an all flake core made with copper, 2 different sizes. I've got 15 size here. This will be the smaller of the 2, slightly larger, so just a little bit for texture. 1/8 of a teaspoon, and then we'll go with the extra fine stuff. This is actually from Hobby Lobby. I just transferred it to this container because the other one, well, it made a mess. It leaked all over the place. So I got 1/4 of a teaspoon from that. And this is, by the way, about 100 milliliters. I have no idea what that works out to in cups. So there we are. Beautiful. I think that's going to be just right. There's an anal fin right in the back that I want to be able to fill up. Right there. And kind of level it out. Can be a little bit tricky on that anal fin because once it fills, if you get any extra, it wants to run into the tail itself. So just take your time. Pour is done. I got about 40 ml left. Inside the mold, I'm looking at where that core kind of moves up to, and a good gauge almost across the board here is it goes halfway up the eye. So if you want to try to create this on your own, that's kind of the gauge that you should be shooting for. The last color is in the microwave, and I'm wondering if you guys have been hearing this weird squeaking noise. Anybody? It's that guy right there. See it moving? My rotisserie is going. Y'all want to see what's on it? Let's check them out. Oh yeah. These are all airbrushed, gentlemen. Let's see about these others. I just redid my rotisserie, added these mounts on it. Makes life a lot easier. The whole wood and everything slides out with the clamps on top. Looky there. That's got a red, orange, and yellow, kind of like a fire deal. There's my perch. Super pleased with those. Having a lot of fun with the airbrush. Looking forward to opening that can on the channel here soon, so you guys can look forward to that. All right, we're all set. Got our next cup ready to roll. This is a new color for me, so I have no idea. I'm guessing because it's watermelon, it's not going to be all that saturated, and it's an MF product as well, which just by default generally means it's not going to be a very thick pigment. So I'm thinking with a cup, let's start with 20 drops and we'll go from there. Oh, dang. Wow. Okay, that's nice. Whew. All right, let's see. Our little test here. Kind of losing it, but I can still see more than we saw the monkey milk. So let's go back. Let's add another 5. Man, I am digging this color. Holy moly. I like that. It's going to darken up a little bit with the flake. So, as is tradition, large black flake to a cup, 1 teaspoon, or 1/4 of a teaspoon rather. And also small black flake. This is 015, large was 062. This is 1/8 of a teaspoon. And well, let's do this one. I want to see what it looks like. I've got one more flake that I have in mind, but I don't usually like. Well, let's just start with this. Okay. What I was going to say was, in the past, when I have mixed different remelts, my eye doesn't typically like blue flake and red flake in the same bait for some reason. I don't know. Maybe you do. No judgment. Don't judge me. But it's just not my gig. However, this blue highlight, right, I think is going to be a little bit different. You can see the red eye. You can also see red flake in this trailer that I've got, and it complements very well the color shifty top of this that has that blue hue to it. So, all that to say, 015 red. Let's go easy, 1/16 of a teaspoon. I think it's going to be worthwhile. I mean, watermelon red, right? So watermelon blue red, surely that's going to look awesome. Okay, yeah, that was a good idea. Yeah, that was a really good idea. All right, I got it at 347. Should be just right. Let's pour our tops. And let it ooze down into the tail so you don't trap any air. Don't sweat a little bit of overpour on the top. Those will pinch off, take care of themselves. By the way, just before I pulled the Plastisol out of the microwave, I turned the griddle up to 300 to get it baking a little warmer. We're going to end up baking these around there to bond all the layers. There we go. And by the way, what I meant by oozing it down into the tail so you don't trap any air, that tail has a slope to it that slopes down from the thinnest part down into the bottom of that tail. And if you just pour straight down into the widest cavity, which is the easiest way to do it, you run the risk of trapping air in those two corners on each side. But if you kind of, just as you move through the thinnest part of the mold, that's where I pour that last layer, right on that slope, so it just kind of moves down and allows the air to escape. These guys are going to need to cook on here for a good, 15 minutes at least at 300, and I'll take a look at them at that point, see if they look like they're done, and if so, we'll crack them open and see what they look like. All right, timer is set. While those cook though, I wanted to show you guys something. Check these out. How cool is that? Look at the size. You can see that they were part of a manufacturer that didn't work out or whatever. They were going to be recycled, thrown away. And Joe, Mr. Joe Frank, over at Bait and Tackle, was able to grab these for me and send them to me. I could think of nothing more appropriate than to slap his sticker right on these guys. Once the 15-minute timer goes off, then I'll shut off the heat. When they're about, halfway or so cooled off, I'm going to move them to this. Joe's got a Instagram, so make sure you go check him out there. I'll drop his handle in the video. He also has a YouTube channel. So I'm a subscriber over there, and you guys should be too. Goes by the same name, Bait and Tackle, and he is on his way. He's a hair's breadth away from 1,000, which is a huge milestone. If you guys aren't watching Joe over at Bait and Tackle, I encourage you to do so. Help him get to 1,000, and we'll finish our build all the better thanks to Joe. Okay, I've been as patient as I can be. It's killing me because I love this pattern so much. I'm dying to see it in the Pud. I should have mentioned this, by the way. The purpose of the plate is to suck the heat out of the molds, right? So it just helps them cool down faster, transfers the heat to the plates, and if you do that too fast, you can get some denting. In my experience with the Pud, I always get just a little bit of divot in the tail, but certainly nothing that affects the action or even the look. Once they're out and you kind of take a look at them, they always look pretty spectacular. So, with that in mind, let's see if these are spectacular. Here we go. All right. Oh yes. Woo-hoo. Man, that looks fantastic. Look at that guy. Wow. Huh? Oh man, that is pretty. Let's compare now. Look at that. I'd say we did pretty darn good. Make sure that all of the layers, oh yeah, everything bonded together. No cold cracks. Nice and translucent. I'm surprised I don't see as much blue. I mean, you can see a little bit of blue there when the light hits it just right. But I kind of like that. Look at that handful of tasty deliciousness. That red was a perfect addition to the top. The copper, all flake core, spectacular. Couldn't be more pleased. I actually already have some eyes on one of them. These are 6mm living eyes in fire. That's the red version. Here's that guy. Completed package with the red eye. Doesn't she look good? Oh man. Well guys, that is going to do it for today's build. I couldn't be more pleased with the results. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't checked out the rest of the channel, be sure to do that. And in the meantime, until the next build, I'll see you guys in the shop.